Well, hello everyone. Here to talk about the study of Macintosh, computers, and basically talk about the logo right here. And you see right here is I went ahead and drew some sketches right here using a pen right here, just like according to where I was reading about the talk about the graphic designer like for Rob Janoff and understanding from back in 1977 whenever he was discovering the best identity corporate identity logo for the Macintosh computer. And you see right here is that I went ahead and drew some examples right here of it's like yeah like more like it was a cover idea actually that I was putting together in class. But you see right here is that this right here will be example right here of like a logo design. And we can see that right there that that with this Apple logo right there, that one of the reasons to why that this shape right here of an apple was designed is just really to also as a show of the colors, because it looks like that there's about 7 8 colors altogether that would be included for the Mac edition. And so it's like say for the Apple making this, so it seems like that whenever that you're going to have a designer that's going to be designing the logo for that Apple computer, that if I can remember right, that the first thing that I remember mentioned is that that was said in quotes was is that to include to where that the computer, the color computer model, that type of logo that will work fit perfectly with that new release edition for the Mac computer, for the Apple computer, that would show that there's a color edition and compared to which call like if it's like a source of a example for black and white, but also about the yeah, a bite in the apple. And just to be able to identify the logo, because I know that if there was a make maybe such as maybe a pear, if they used maybe the pear logo for example of like for a Mac computer, then sometimes it's like say between a pear or maybe a cherry, or maybe if it is a nectarine, or if it's a peach or some fruit like that. But you have here is right here that with this Apple logo right here, and with this design right here, that I was coming up with some ideas, like say yeah that at first that like I say that if you're going to have a designer that's going to be sketching a lot of the ideas based on what would look good for this logo. And let's just say that if you're going to be starting out with a round shape right there, and you have right there is the top of the leaf right there. I was also thinking to maybe to go ahead and include the stem right there, just to show that okay, the stem right there, the stem that would represent for like if it's supposed to be like a fruit type design, or maybe that the leaf right there. And so let's just say that maybe by if there's going to be maybe the new 2020 edition of the Mac computer that's going to come out, and let's just say that that with the Mac computer that they're going to have it released to where that yeah, you do like the colors on the leaf right there. But you have right there is using right here is a pen right here, and I'll go ahead and get this pen right here. So in case if somebody asks me that really that why are you using pen most of the time, and I'm like, well, really though, that whenever I draw with the pen, it kind of puts me on a challenge as to where that for how far I'm willing to go so far as is a drawing some. So let's just say that yeah, that if I'm going to be writing something down, and then I decide to go ahead and just if it shouldn't be at no problem at all to go ahead and draw a little example of what I'll be talking about. And let's just say that if I were to be doing some examples right here, some design sketches of an apple right here, and let's just say that with the leaf right here, I go ahead and draw examples right there of the stem with the patterns right there on the top. So that right there is supposed to represent for like the apple design right there. And let's just say that with that apple design, and then maybe do like a little outline right there, do like a little outline right there for the apple, and then it would show right there, for the outline. And it's like, yeah, that, for the new release of the Apple Macintosh, Apple icon, that the logo right there is to say, the logo that they will represent, you have for the new edition for what it would represent for up to 5 colors. So it's like, yeah, looking at that logo right there, and then they have right here's the logo, and then you have right there this logo right here, which I went ahead and worked right there using pencil. And so I know that if there's going to be any sorts of work such as that with Janoff, if he would have back in 1977, it was if he would have been spending so much time working on that perfect design, a corporate identity logo for the Apple computer. And let's just say that if he came up with all kinds of ideas, and such as one idea that he really want to go with is to where that to make sure everybody knows is that that this right here will be an Apple product. So let's just say that that if it's going to be an Apple calculator, and you're likely thinking too that any sorts of Apple products that would be announced also, and so yeah, the Apple, maybe if it's the Apple Carousel or something like that, like something that, maybe something to be able to keep, like a calendar. I'm like, something that you can use for like a calendar or something like that, or something that makes it, something to keep something organized. Like say, yeah, like carousel type design, like being produced by Apple. But still though that I'll show everybody here that I did not do very much Photoshop work, but mainly about the sketches right here, because I know that working with these sketches right here that want to show right here is that this right here will be what you call about the similar thing for what Janoff was able to come up with, is to where that he was able to put together about up to 15 or 20 sketches of different Apple designs for what to use for the company and other clients that would approach that idea. And they're saying is that, yeah, that they want to go ahead and use something that compared that to, from an apple to a pear. And so they say that, yeah, if you're going to be drawing a round shape like this, and then maybe that they want to, he wanted other companies to approach it as to where it's not a pear, it's not an orange or a grape, it's an apple. And in order to be able to approach the idea of an apple is to show a sketch with a bite, right there on the side. So it's like, yeah, that. So I know that I guess the stem, the stem would not even be visible, from the actual icon. So as I say that from the actual logo, that it would not even be visible. But you see right here is that this right here would be example right here of like a sketch, and you say that, yeah, that looking at that sketch right there, and I want to know just a little bit too that with that sketch that from back in 1977, that like say that for how many clients that came approach that idea to where they're going to want to go ahead and use that as for an example of a logo. And from all those ideas comes about is to where that doing some sketching ideas, and then you say that, yeah, you do the sketches like that, and then one note a little bit too is to where go ahead and draw like that, bite in the apple, but then also but the colors, go ahead and color in the apple is to where it's going to show just for the to represent for the colored monitor screens. Color monitor screens, if that would have been released back in 1979, maybe back in the early 1980s, they had to do is the color screen right there. And so it's like, say, yeah, that so working these sketches right here, and you can see right here is that this right here would show like the actual logo right here, like they have right here is like the blue, purple, and red, and orange, and yellow, and green right there. And so I say that you say for when in doubt, leave it out. But talk about for the Apple computers. So with the Apple computers, that is, I say that yeah, a lot of quite a few designers would say that yeah, that whenever they're going to be sketching out some ideas for what they want the logo to look like, what the company what approaches their ideas about for how the designs are going to be developed. And let's just say though that with the apple though, like with the apple, that if you want to start out maybe with the apple seed, I'm like sometimes one or two that maybe that if the company was approached more about the bite in the apple, or maybe about the apple seeds, the inside of the apple, yeah, the apple seeds, and to say that, yeah, if the company would have maybe used an idea like this right here to where that Yeah, that I'll go ahead and draw everybody, draw an example right here of if the company would have maybe used this right here as example right here, draw the inside of the apple right there, but then go ahead and include the seeds right there. So really, that would companies be approached by that idea for a logo? And I guess you say that, yeah, well, it's kind of hard to compare that compared to an actual, apple because, yeah, it looks a little bit like a pumpkin. We're not, this company's not famous for like, the pumpkin or something. So yeah, pumpkin seeds, or if it's maybe if it is a nectarine or any sorts of fruit. So I know that, if you're going to be using a logo design that contains the seeds of the fruits or so of the matter, then yeah, then I guess does that basically mean to where that the computer has a product that's yet to be developed, or if anything, it just doesn't look right, doesn't approach other clients. So it's like, yeah, that from back in the 1970s, that really that there's something about the sketch that really approached the other clients, and one of those would be as to where that, yeah, that about the size, and then also about just showed you about the bite in the apple, biting the fruit. But really, though, that like I say, that yeah, since then, that I guess Macintosh, they come quite a bit of ways with the iPhone, iPhone 5 and iPhone 6 and all those other products. But sometimes it's like saying that yeah, if you're going to go ahead and have like the Apple logo that's going to represent for the product, so and I want to know just a little bit too, that just to where that with the Apple logo, that would it look good to have one side with the petals and stripes or so, and then that would represent the color, and then this side right here would represent the saturation of the screen monitors or something. But anyway, but you got right there is like the Apple logo design right there. And like I say, is to where yeah, well, what exactly does the leaf really represent? Because I know that besides the seeds, though, that what exactly about the leaf, though, could possibly could the leaf to the Apple product also represent, is to where like what you call that, to be sponsored by, is to where that this is how the company was found by, into where how many apples have grown since then, since the production of the first Macintosh computer. So let's just say that, yeah, other programs and softwares that were developed from over the years, and sometimes it's like say that want to know about the leaf. So the leaf would maybe also mean is to where that the fruit is still fresh and still in season. Before talk about other programs that were developed by the Macintosh computer, and then you about that Janoff, though, is like that for being the designer of this logo right here. And like I thinking too that okay, that with this design right here, that they were known by quite a few black and white monitors, or maybe that their monitors were pretty big in size and all that. But let's say that whenever the color monitors were first announced, and 102 about what the perfect logo would work good for that. But so you have right here's these stripes right here. So you got right there's this logo design right here, and you got right here's this logo design right here using pen. So I know that like with any source of designer, that they're likely one or two that if they're going to be coming up some ideas of what works best for the logo, and let's just say that maybe that if we were to be doing the math right here, let's just say that the first thing that they're going to maybe be working with would be something that's going to be measured by maybe millimeters, to where that whenever they're going to be drawing it, it's really too small to really just to recognize it until that they enlarge the image, until they enlarge the image, and then that's whenever they will get a pretty good view of it. So it seems like that whenever you start drawing something, it seems like that you want to kind of start out small until that you start until you start getting some more ideas, and developing the ideas, and then one to go ahead and enlarge the image. But nowadays with this digital technology, that you're able to make the picture even bigger. So let's just say that if you draw a few other examples of some apples, and you have right here is an example right here of that, some of these other sketches I came up with. So let's just say that if you're going to be drawing other examples and some of these Apple logos that would be smaller size, and want to know just a little bit too about what fits best. And so I can say that for the Apple computer, that you have these other Apple designs right here. But just like wanted to word it that if you're going to be starting off small, let's just say if you're going to be working with this design right here, and maybe not everybody is going to approach that logo design just because it looks more like a pumpkin. You got right there is like a little pumpkin handle. It looks a little bit like a pumpkin. And not really like an apple, but more likely a pumpkin. And then right there is like a cherry on the top or something like that. So yeah, so the way we're looking at this right here, these designs right here of the Apple logo would show with no bite on the side of it. So it's like say that the bite of the Apple that really approached other clients, according to what I understood about Rob, that whenever he was whenever he was working in the Apple logo from back in 1977, that I guess that kind of approached the idea to where it showed a bite in the apple, and then of course the leaf on the top, and then with the 7 or 8 stripes, they're going across the logo design to represent the colors whenever the color screen monitors were first manufactured and developed. But yeah, anyway, talk about what the logos right there that you got right there is the logo right there, and yeah, it looks with this sketch right here, it looks just a little bit like a candle. Yeah, it looks like a candle, and I don't know about how many clients that would say is to where if you're going to have a logo design and maybe if you're going to have like a little candle design for like the logo, and want to know too that really though that anything whenever a candle is lit, that basically means it's given the logo energy, right? I'm like, if that's another way of how you want to describe energy, if you're going to have it to where a logo like this, and let's just say if you're going to say that the top of the candle right there is supposed to represent energy. So let's just say that that if this right here would be example right here of maybe for like the internet access or some logo like that. Say that maybe something like that would be available for maybe for the iPhone 5, and then let's say if it was another example of like the use of energy, the use of energy to where that whenever it turns green and turns yellow, that means that it's got really good energy strength. But then whenever it starts turning purple, or maybe purple and yellow mix or something like that, and then that means it's getting the energy level is getting lowering. But still though, that I guess maybe for the candle logo that maybe work good for the logo design. But then on your hand, it's like say that that represents for the Apple for the Apple products, the Apple company. But really though, the leaf I guess is not really an example of like a source of energy, but more likely the type of Apple design to where that's about the Apple core, and then as well as how the Apple products were produced. But anyway, but you have right here is the eraser, and I don't know how many of us learned to word it exactly about whenever you're going to be blending in some colors. And let's just say that maybe if Janoff was doing something like this back in the old days, as to where he would be coming up with different sketches, different variety of sketches, and then be blending in some shades of pencil art, just to be able to form this logo design right here. And want to know too that usually that whenever you erase, that means that you're removing those blends of strokes of the pencil strokes, and but still at the same time you're blending you're blending in those shades right there, just to show more of the pencil type. So it's like, so yeah, that whenever you're blending something, and then that makes it lighter, and then go ahead and blend a little bit more of it just to make that side right there darker. So I know that that with using the details with black and white right there, And I know that like most designers can maybe warn too, is toward that whenever they're going to be designing something like a logo, then sometimes it seems like that maybe just to kind of experiment around just a little bit more with the design, just to see how I approach other clients. But still, though, that I know that they're comparing that to an actual fruit and then to the actual product. And likely thinking too that, oh, okay, the color screen monitors, the color screen monitors, that's supposed to approach clients right there. But sometimes it seems like that maybe you're going to find something else that's going to be missing, such as to where maybe the battery pack or something like that. Yeah, the battery pack. I'm like, what exactly? What type of logo design do you think that maybe that we could maybe use for the battery pack? But you got right there is design right there is the Apple logo right there. So yeah, that instead of showing the seeds, then I guess it's going to show the bite in the apple. So it's like, so yeah, showing the seeds. Besides the seeds, it's going to show the bite in the apple and then the leaf on the top. So that's basically right there. Is like you have right there is the apple right there, and yeah, that if you'll be using maybe the apple core for example for a logo, then I really don't know it, but I say that yeah, that whenever you're going to be comparing that to the actual to a pear or maybe to any other source of fruit, maybe to a banana or some like yeah, for apple products, that's pretty much when what approaches what approach other clients, but anyway. But you got right there is the Apple design right there for the logo, and so far as research to talk about for Rob Janoff, and yeah, for you're famous for the Apple logo design right there. But still, though, that I know that in case of somebody may ask me that if you're the best way of how to be able to tell everybody that really if you're wanting to use any source of color in a matter with some of your designs about your best ways of how to show as to where that what layers or so of the logo that would be used to represent for color. And I sometimes use different shades of stripes and all that, just to be able to show that the meaning for color, because this right here, that yeah, it looks like a bunch of stripes right there, but let's just say that right there is supposed to represent for color. And so I know that I don't know if really very many people would say that oh okay color, huh? I'm like, because it looks like maybe shapes are just different lines right there on the bottom of the Apple logo. But anyway, but talk about for the Apple design right here, and so I just like say that yeah, with the Apple design right there, that I guess other clients that would approach his sketches just by the bite in the apple. And say that you add the leaf on the top, and maybe something that represents for the new release of the color monitors. But anyway, but talk about the study and understanding about your Rob Janoff, and you're famous for the Apple logo and other Apple products. Thanks for watching, everyone, and have a great day.